always get married at like 30 and marry like 18-year-old girls, and it seemed to work. In many arranged marriages, there's a big age disparity. I don't know how it worked in Italy, but there's a lot of people that have big age disparities, and it works. But I think that you don't have the same values, and
You can have the same values, but you don't have the same similarities. You can't the same stuff
things
that
in common.
right? The stuff that you grew up with, I grew up with.
Right, the same music, the same movies, the love for watching The Godfather.
Are we good? Next question. I can go.
I don't know. Are you good with that answer, or you want more?
No, that's okay.
Did we get into how to discipline bad children yet? Is that a question?
No, that's not a question of marriage. The next question is.
Oh, that would be a good question.
It's
Disciplining children.
that has nothing to do with your marriage, though.
Sure it does.
Sure it does.
How?
Oh my
All right,
God!
then go ahead.
Oh my
Explain,
gosh, it does.
Explain the
tremendous.
disciplining
Good
of
cop,
children.
bad cop.
Go ahead. Let's
First,
hear it.
all right, I'll start.
He wants to be liked, and I'm the disciplinarian. I'm the one who has to discipline people.
Can you just scoot this way a little? Yeah, there you go.
Why my ear wasn't in?
No, half your face wasn't in.
I'm a man and she's a woman. Things that I think are permissible and not permissible, she'll think differently. So we have to come to an agreement on how to do these things. A lot of times it's very tough, You have a ball game and you have a test the next day. Now your mother would say, he's got a test the next day, there's no game. And I'm like, well, the kid's got to learn to do the two things. And you have to come together, the man's opinion and a woman's opinion on how children to do things. Walking somewhere by yourself when you're young, going for a bike ride by yourself. There's two sets of opinions on how things get done, how things should be done, Now with dating, we have two sets of opinions. And you have to come to and that's not easy, coming to a meeting place on what to do with the kids. What time, even when you're little, what time they should be going to bed, what time to wake up.
But I
what
think we've
they be
handled that
eating.
very well. We've handled that pretty well.
When your mother first went back to work, she was like 7 days in a row, you're feeding them fish sticks. You gotta stop feeding them fish sticks. They can't have fish. I said, they're eating. What's the difference? She goes, they need some vitamins in their system. But man, they're eating the fish sticks. What's wrong with the fish sticks? You can't. It was so easy. I'd put on the toaster and put down 10 fish sticks, and you guys would eat them.
Or
and
we
we'd
had
be
your
done.
first anaphylactic reaction and you couldn't swallow, and Daddy gave you McDonald's on the way to
To
take.
prove that I could swallow.
Yeah, when I was working.
And that worked. Look, you're still here.
And when you went into your next anaphylactic reaction, I said we have to go and get upstairs, call the doctor. He's all right. He's all right. No, he's not all right. He's okay. So he would try to calm me down, and I knew the reality. So we kind of fed off each other.
And you gotta
try to make it work.
The similarities, you got to realize too. I'm the oldest. She's the youngest. I'm used
You're
to.
talking about in your families, though, like.
Yeah, separate as children.
Okay.
No, he's still the
You
oldest.
didn't.
in
I
his
know,
family.
but he didn't like specify. I knew what he meant, like in his family and your family, but he didn't. It wasn't like specified.
So I'm used to being the boss. Like in those movies when the father goes hunting, he goes, "You're the man in the house." Well, I thought, and my brothers and sisters will tell you, that I thought I was the big boss. And Mom used to say when I would walk in the room, it would get like quiet. Wasn't like they respected me. They didn't care, they didn't like me for it, but I was used to that role. Your mother was abused, and everybody else was her boss, so she had led a life differently. So when it comes to you kids and doing things,
I
we
wasn't
have two
abused.
different. Yeah, abused is a bad word.
I had six fathers.
Nobody
instead
called
of
nobody
instead
called
of
the
one.
police out there, please.
I had six fathers instead of one.
But she
Just
couldn't
five
have
fathers.
her own personality growing up because everybody was always telling her what to do and where to be, and it was her mother's last chance to bring up that one last child
Next
to her
question.
mother. Huh?
Next question.
Really?
See how that marriage works?
How much?
Next question.
What? Can we go?
Yeah.
I wasn't
Are you
done.
ready? Are you ready for? I know you
Yes.
weren't done, but are you ready for the next question?
Yes.
I thought,
What
See?
advice?
is there going to be a part two?
What advice would you give teenagers who are dating and thinking about getting married?
Can we put a number down so people can call me for more information?
No, we're not putting a number down for people to call you.
But I thought this wasn't going to work, but now I'm feeling it, so people could call me and.
All right,
get
just
more.
answer the question.
Go ahead.
What advice would you give teenagers who are dating and thinking about getting married?
Absolutely too young.
You think so?
Yeah.
What if they're like 19, going to 20?
Yes,
young.
too young. In today's world, go ahead.
Right. Things have changed from when we were growing up, or even my older brother who's close to 70 was growing up, people got married younger then because that was the thing to do. But now it's important that you get your education. It's important that you get a good job. So getting married young is not advisable. You need to find out who you are, get yourself settled, and then think about marriage.
I think it's impossible right out of high school without any college or any background, without starting your profession, to be able to have a home and a married life and lead it. So yeah, I think it's too young. I think
Can't even afford it.
look at this, good hairline,
Can't afford it.
bald spot, good hairline.
All right, are you ready for the next question?
Was that a satisfying answer?
Yes, that was good enough.
You want more?
No.
Are you telling
Okay.
us something? You're not getting married, are you?
No, I'm not getting married.
Oh.
Is
Okay.
Luke?
I have no idea
Alright,
If
good.
he
what
was,
goes
would
on
you
in
tell
Luke's
us?
life. I don't know anything.
Ooh.
Does that mean?
All
you
right,
wouldn't
next
tell-
question.
You won't even look. at
Next
us.
He
question.
knows more than what he's
Next
saying.
Yeah, he
question. What advice would you give to young married couples that are experiencing marital difficulties and thinking about divorce?
They need to take a step back. They need to breathe. They need to take into consideration the other person's feelings and where they're coming from. They need to take into consideration that person's upbringing because that plays a role too in who they are. What would you say?
You need to go back and think about the early parts of the relationship, what you used to do for each other that would make each other happy. And maybe you lost your way doing those things, and look at, when there's difficulties like that, no one's usually innocent. Usually two people have a hand in it on what's going on. So there's some self-evaluation to change who you are and go back and look at it. But I think sometimes just remember the little things that you used to do and go back to being the person when you were first dating, and hopefully that can resolve. But how young were you talking about? We're back to the teenagers?
Like early 20s,
Wasn't very
I guess. It
specific
just says
question.
young children.
This teacher made up these questions. More specific next year.
All right. Looking back, if you could, is there anything you would do differently or change in your marriage?
Do differently?
Yeah. Is there anything you'd do different or change? Maybe hope that something was better if you did something different?
I don't think so. I think everything went.
I think I
Yeah,
could listen.
pretty
I could listen more and be. I guess I could have listened more. Pay attention more. There's times like that. Sure, there's things that you can do different.
Not me, I'm perfect.
I bet.
Listen to your mother and sold the house after 5 years, and moved to another house instead of staying here,
That we should have done.
which is part of the listening. Sometimes you fall into your roles of man and woman instead of sharing things.
All right, good.
Yeah.
What would you say is the key to a happy marriage?
The one key.
Multiple keys if you want. Do you have multiple keys to a happy marriage?
Where's my key ring?
Respect. Keep the sense of humor. I think going back to the other thing, remember the little things that make each other happy. Like we were talking about before with the kids, but it's unfortunate. Don't forget each other while you're doing all the other things that go on in life, which isn't easy.
Anything to add?
Nope. That's good.
No? And last question.
You can read that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Do you think a couple should live together before deciding to get married?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Why?
No need to.
I don't understand what it adds. First of all, I think it takes away all the spontaneity, because then you realistically you're married way before you're married. I think it takes away the romance, spontaneity.
And getting to know each other. It's part of marriage, growing with each other.
And I think it's fake too, because you're living with each other, and it's like, oh, when we get married, and it's all. So I don't think you're really who you are, because you're putting. They used to say putting on the dog, being somebody that you're not necessarily, because you just want to continually be impressive, because you're only going towards that one goal.
But don't you think some people could see it as a trial run instead of getting married and then divorced?
Yeah, they do, but you know what? it's such a short period of time. You don't go through the test. You don't have the kids. You don't have Bill. Some of the things that go on with a marriage, you're not going to encounter when you're two young people sharing a place. Everybody says they're saving money. One of yous moved home. That's what Stephen and what's her name did. She moved home with her parents. You know, all about saving money. Like it's that big a deal. You know, oh, you got to save. You're not going to save that much money.
If you really love someone, you're going to stick it out to the end. You're going to work things out. Whereas if you're living with somebody for a trial run, it's just too easy to walk out. How much do you really love that person?
All right. Anything else to add before we end the video?
You ready to end this?
Yeah.
We're so happy to have you as our firstborn. We want to thank you for everything you've done for us.
You're welcome.
Boop.
Anything you want to add?
No, I think,
All done?
if you're done, we're done.
All right. All good.